Okay, welcome to this episode of the Top 5 Podcast. That is the first overall draft pick from Season 9, Dayman, Nightman.
Oh, does he not do his own intro anymore?
I got grounded.
That is the number 2 pick from the Season 9 draft. Stupido,
Oh, it's like Animal Planet,
Einsteiny.
so we can do whatever we want.
Let's make Chalk that
Guys,
one
is
guy
nobody going to play fucking golf?
That's
I'm not
pretty
playing.
dicked up.
Look,
Oh,
golf
that's
is for the bourgeois, all right?
That's pretty dicked up.
Well,
hang on.
thankfully it's putt-putt, not golf.
Yeah.
It's for
Putt-putt
the
is for the fucking
steady
white
bourgeoisie.
Aren't you a laid-off tech bro? What are you coming up here?
Look, I'm not a
bourgeois
bro.
You
stuff?
are the
I'm
fucking
not a
bourgeoisie.
bro.
Okay, I'm sorry. That doesn't make you less bougie, though.
Tech
Okay, I didn't say it did. I'm just saying I'm not a bro.
There's like one of us who has a union membership in this place, and it's Leo, and it's a teachers union. It's not like he's.
They don't really do
steelworker.
anything.
Yeah, he's got the whole
It's
fucking
not like
summer
he's a
off.
steel worker. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Well, technically-
pretty good analysis, I'd say.
Well,
Yeah.
technically, I've had the
Yeah,
whole
you do.
summer off, so
Yeah.
I've had the whole summer off too.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you didn't make that choice.
You're still
Oh yeah,
off.
he did.
Might have to fall
He made
off.
the choice not to.
Hey,
get another
vacation
job.
is vacation. Fuck off.
It's vacation. It's off.
You've seen the employment numbers. I'm number 3, Chalk Banana of your Philadelphia Phillies.
I am Leo Pollersbeck, number 4.
That
of
is
your
Leo
San Diego
Pollersbeck.
Padres.
The 4th overall pick of the Season 9 draft.
What is this new chalk thing?
He's trying
And
to
wherever
be that one
2
guy
or
that did
3,
documentaries, whose name I forget.
David Attenborough. Wherever there are 2 or 3,
He certainly
Trinidad
doesn't have a
and
voice.
Tobago. Wherever there are 2 or
Anytime
3
Truth-
top 5 picks, we have number 5.
I'm glad you've accepted the correct pronunciation.
I have fallen prey to your misinformation campaign.
Yeah, well,
We did it, boys.
good thing I'm
We
a
did
teacher.
it, boy.
Griff.
We did it, Joe.
He's honed his skills. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's had lots of
And we-
practice.
We're
Why
welcoming
am I-
season 10, number 5 draft pick, Copernicus Hel.
What up, nerds? Yeah, it's pronounced heel. I took the extra E out because I thought it was less efficient. But
Yes.
yeah, heel
Yes.
for sure.
It's
All about
Danish.
efficiency here.
Yeah, it's super Danish.
Super Danish. Zan, sorry for the Danish joke. If
Now,
you still
who-
listen to the podcast.
Who was 5 on your? Is it King Griffey?
It's 16-bit Griffey.
Griffey was 5.
And he's not. He doesn't exist anymore. Where'd he go?
Oh, he exists.
He exists.
He does.
Okay.
He's in a
In fact, he's
difficult-
right. He's here right now. 'Cause
Yeah.
David
Oh, he's
Moore
with
was
us all the
together.
time, huh? He's-
No,
he's
no,
always-
no. It's not all the time.
Okay.
it's only when we are together. So Stupido
more.
and I, 2 or more.
Yeah.
Stupido and I took a trip together. It's a
Ah.
whole thing. And the entire time it was
Sounds
actually a
sexier than
threefer.
it was.
We were all there together, and Griff was with us.
Let me preface, there were more people than just Stupido and I.
I mean, there were times where it was just
Our,
Stupido
also,
and I.
our wives were aware.
There were times where we didn't know who was with us. It was a wild party.
Well, we always actually there was a little bit of a wild time there on occasion, but we won't get into that.
Hey-o.
Or maybe we will. I don't know.
Oh, that's a home run.
What?
Not this
Yeah.
episode.
Did you
Would
just
it
give up a
not?
home run?
He gave it up.
Uh-oh.
Oh man.
So
Wait,
we can play
live
during
on
the
the air?
podcast.
Wait, did I give? No, I didn't give it up. I'm pitching right now, so
Oh.
this is basically like talking
Oh,
to
okay.
a guy who's mic'd up on the field.
You are pitching right now.
I'm pitching in my game right now.
You know,
Let's see.
you never interview the pitcher during those
Diamondbacks.
times.
They do
No.
They do during the All-Star game. They don't during
I'd love to
regular
see them
games.
interview Max Scherzer, and he would just flip the fuck out. It'd be great.
He's a psycho.
I know him. I went to school with him. I was friends with his brother. I know him personally.
I'd rather them
You know Max
like
Scherzer?
that Greinke.
Yeah, I sure do.
Okay.
I know him a lot.
Was he
That's
a
actually-
giant douche back in the day?
No, he was cool. Very nice to
okay.
me.
That it's funny you say that because one of our family
Max
friends
Scherzer.
is like pretty good friends with Madison Bumgarner,
Mhm.
and like
Bad
was
bum,
like
bad
was
bum.
in KC like when they won the World Series and stuff. And when he first told me, it was like the exact same thing where he was like, "Oh yeah, I know him," and I was like, "What do you mean? Like you've seen him before, or like you have his phone number?" And then he's like, "No, we like he's like a personal friend," and it's just like pictures of them like in the locker room and shit. And like a bunch of giant shit and like a bunch of texts and like him at like his house for dinner and shit. And it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, you like actually know him. Okay, fair. Like, because it is like that, you know?
When
Oh, yeah.
You like
we
go to
were
his house
doing-
and shit?
Oh yeah, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
When we were doing our backyard, I had to do stuff with my neighbor behind me because he doesn't do anything in his backyard, so I had to do stuff for him to be able to make my backyard work. And so it's a whole thing. So I was talking to him, and we never really talked before, and he's telling me like what he does, and he like has a uniform manufacturing company where he like doesn't make all of the uniforms, but he like takes the base uniform and then tailors it for like the players. So he goes and gets like measurements and such, and like he had just gone to the Super Bowl a couple of months before we were talking, and he's like, because he had to fit somebody for a thing, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. He's like, yeah, my kids are a little spoiled because they like hang out with Sidney Crosby on occasion. I'm like, okay,
Oh my
yeah,
God,
hang on.
we leave different lives. All right. So, yeah, that's my story.
Was that
That's
the one I
nice.
met? Or the one that
No,
was okay?
no, that's Maria. She's lovely.
Maria.
Everybody knows that Maria is pretty lovely.
The most
She is.
beautiful sound I've ever
Isn't she
heard.
lovely?
Oh, this is a
So,
musical episode.
couple of questions for you. How do you prefer to be called? Copernicus, Mr. Heel, Cop? I've heard you called Cop a couple of times, which seems a little spot
The
on
devil?
with the devil persona.
Well,
Go.
Cope or Cop works. Yeah,
Cope?
Cope.
Copa.
Oh
Okay,
gosh.
I'm gonna go with Cope. Cope. First
Citizen Cope.
question. Hot enough for you?
Hot enough for me. It's never hot enough for me. I live in hell, so that's it could be hotter, I would say.
Okay.
But with
You don't mind the
in
heat.
truth, global climate change crisis is affecting us all. We should all take it seriously. And I've got a list of links that I'll send that after the episode if you want to send some money in. I'm not going to do
Oh,
any of that, by the way. I
shit. Now
might
we're going to
do
get
all.
the little thing at the bottom about climate change.
Hey, as long as you're willing to pay the difference in gas bill to, fund heating up the studio, you're more than welcome to turn the thermostat up. But
We're going to get a
that's
Kickstarter going.
not going to be on our dime.
Okay, fair enough. It's fine. Actually, it is. It sucks out here. I mean, I'm from Missouri and Georgia originally, so I'm used to being pretty hot when it is hot. Now I live in California and I have for 10 years, and the weather out here is perfect. I get like
is.
I get like pretty. I've gotten pretty. I don't know, too sensitive to weather changes that are minor. When I was a kid, I'd go outside. I spent all summer outside because I went to outdoor summer camp and would be out there in the Missouri heat. 110 plus humidity. Now it's like 80 degrees in San Francisco, and I'm complaining. And the younger me would be ripping on me pretty hard right now for complaining. So it feels pretty great. It feels pretty great.
Younger me would make fun of me for a lot of things. Yeah.
Younger me might actually be impressed with me, but he wasn't. He was easily impressed, so not saying much.
My younger me would really like older me's baseball card collection. That's about it.
I actually have been meaning to ask you about something, or like I guess just like tell you something. Cobb, are you into baseball cards too?
I was into cards when I was in the 90s, but I do know a lot about collectible baseball cards because I'm into collectibles. Well, I'm sort of into collectibles game professionally. So short answer is
okay,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking of. I think a buddy of mine, his coworker the other day was just like, "Oh, I've been meaning to ask you, like, do you like baseball cards at all? Because I have a bunch of them and been like wanting to maybe sell them or something." He's like, "Oh, not really, but like bring them in and like show me." Like, and so he comes in with like all these binders full of cards. One of the sets is like the Desert Storm set that they only gave to service members, and it's from
early
'91
'90s,
and it has a fucking Griffey.
That
And
thing is
and literally, so like he tells me this, and I was like, you should just look it up really fast. Looks it up. 10 out of 10 grade Griffey Desert Storm one. Like one of them was on eBay for like 15 grand.
Yeah, baby.
Like,
that's
and it was like he basically said, and the dude who has these is like a really like it's like the coworker my buddy is like always bitching about. Like he's always like, this fucking guy, like I fucking hate this guy. He's like a really weird dude. But so when he tells him that he has like these boxes full of like sleeved cards, and then he tells him about like the Desert Storm stuff and stuff, he's like, okay, these are probably in good condition because this dude's a fucking freak. and is like definitely the sort of dude to like put these in like 9 fucking layers of like
It is.
protective sleeving and shit. Because he's just like the strangest dude ever to begin with. And there's like all these stories of him being super fucking just like the weirdest guy on work trips. For, like they were obviously work for the military, and like he literally was at the base one day, and they like back then in the 90s, and they dropped off those fucking cards.
He's not
And
selling for no $5,000.
what one?
It is
What is
selling-
it?
It's like 120 to 140 range.
The
The
Desert
perfect
Storm?
condition Desert Storm Griffey.
Perfect condition is probably going to be more. There's a 9 that's
Yeah,
at
the
350.
yeah the
You were looking at a signed, I think.
yeah, that's the sign. That's the signed one, like the
Uh-huh.
gem mint one, is like 60 grand. That's not what I was thinking of. We were on
On
one of the
eBay.
fucking yeah, that one was on eBay, but we were on just like one of the, I think we were on the Sports Authenticator website, but I can't remember. No, it was just like a bunch of them were like just a few thousand, which it was fucking crazy to be like. He said he had 2 full sets of them.
I'll
Plus,
tell you,
like, a
in the
bunch of other
collectibles
shit.
game, it pays to be weird, man. It pays to
Oh, well, that-
be a
yeah,
hoarder.
like,
I have
that's like
weird boxes that nobody
exactly
likes.
that's like exactly what my buddy was saying. Like, and of course, like I don't think it's inherently weird to like take good care of your baseball
No,
cards,
no,
but
no.
like this dude is just a fucking weird ass. Like he does like a really niche thing for like their security programming. And he's just like really fucking weird and has like worked there for so long that he's just like one of those weird like dudes who just has his like little closet office like Stupido, but doesn't talk to anybody. So like Stupido with no social interaction and no
But-
charisma.
He's like one of those
does
people
he
that walks around
have-
with milk facts. He's got facts about
Yeah,
milk.
and like a
Yeah.
in like a fanny pack and some shit.
But
The
does he
dude when, like,
have
you-
a red swing line stapler?
Oh, a stapler? No, Milton.
A red
don't know.
swing line stapler?
Have you seen my stapler? We're making an Office Space reference, aren't we?
We are.
Okay, good. Just
Ooh.
want to make sure.
Stupido is Leo
Nice.
has no idea what you're doing.
I
Leo,
can
how old are
tell.
you?
Not
23.
old enough,
Not old enough. That's what I imagine.
and
So,
never worked in the office environment.
hey
True.
man, a PSA 10 went for 1,600 recently. You're not going to probably 10 it. It's probably not going to be 10. Doesn't matter.
No. I said I probably would
Yeah.
assume it's like a 5 to an 8, just depending.
Yeah,
Like
an 8
we were
went
just
for
assuming
400.
they were in. Yeah,
Raw was 136. A
you
9
go.
went for 678.
yeah.
Nonetheless.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are really hard to find, and they're like a really niche thing that people really get into.
Yeah, that's what like. At first, I was like, I don't know if they like if they are only released because, like, obviously, I don't know, like, really, like, get into that shit. But I was like, I mean, if they were only released one fucking time, like, that's how anything becomes worth like a lot more.
Yeah.
So,
So
there was somebody else in here. I gotta find the list.
So the answer is
Right.
yeah, hot enough.
how'd you find the league? Cope.
St. Louis Cardinals subreddit. That's it. I was looking for something else to do. Work. I mean, this could go into a large conversation, but work was slowing down, and so I kind of just had time, and it popped up, and I was like, you know what, this sounds cool. Maybe I'll go in there and do something. And then I saw there was a lot of statistics involved, and I'm pretty into that. I like the idea that I can dive into statistics and find like that one little nugget that'll help me succeed, or perhaps have a chance to succeed more than the normal sort of. I'm a big, I don't know, I'm not good at it, but I like the idea of being good at like game theory and that kind of thing. So that's how I found it, and that's what made me stick with it. And then of course the community when I got here was really strong. My college team, the Okra, a shout out to the Fighting Okra, really was fun. I mean, we hung out in the clubhouse a lot, and so that's why I stayed. I think, yeah. Teddy was also pretty instrumental getting me to stay. I like Teddy a lot.
Who doesn't?
The community
Yeah,
does
Teddy
keep
was-
one here.
Leo
Leo,
was
that
my FCB coach too.
that ball was crazy. The path your ball just took
Yeah.
around everywhere was nuts.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah. The double bounce on the wall was an interesting one.
Yeah, you rode that wall hard, like it owed you money or something. That's not how
Yeah.
that joke works. I don't think.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked
He
it.
put that
Close
wall
enough.
away fucking
It
wet.
was partially a
Yeah.
parkour joke. So I
Did you
appreciate
say
it.
he
Yeah.
put that wall away wet?
Yeah, he wrote it hard and put it away wet.
Put it
I
away
was
wet.
finishing your fucked up
Wow.
idiom. You're welcome.
I've never heard that part of the idiom.
You've never heard that?
No.
No, nope.
Even said I was
Same.
I
helping
feel like
you.
you just added the bag of chips onto the all that in a bag of chips and expected me to understand cool things that I've not been cool forever. And that went way
You've
further.
never heard someone say, "Wow, that
What-
person looks like they've been rode hard and put away wet."
No,
Nope.
I've never heard that.
Nobody's heard
never
that.
heard
No,
that.
I think you sound like
Boy.
a pervert. You sound
Leo,
like
Bird.
is that
Boy.
a thing?
It's not a thing.
Leo?
I've never heard of it.
Okay, if Leo hasn't heard of it, day man, that's just an Idaho weirdness.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Leo
was
is
about
the
to say,
collector
I
of
don't know.
perversions, I believe. I think
Speaking of
everybody
Idaho
knows.
weirdness, why do I keep
Leo
seeing
with
Idaho
his like
cars around?
fucking dude, that is real. I was gonna say like that just maybe I just got it from just like the white trashness of Idaho, which is very true. But that is strange for anybody listening. Randomly one day Chalk sent a picture of an Idaho license plate to me, and like ever since then he's seen at least one more, possibly two.
I think I've sent
And
you 3 total, but one was a while
yeah,
ago. So yeah, it's 2
yeah,
recently.
I think you're right. Of like, yeah, we talked about it one time initially because I remember anytime someone sends me a license plate, I feel like there's an objective compulsion to tell you where that license plate is from in the state because you can tell from the county. It's
Yeah.
very strange you keep seeing them though.
Yeah.
Really weird. And they're from
It's
like
a
northern
Vader
Idaho too.
Meinhof
They're not even
phenomenon,
from
right?
here. Like,
Well, there's a strong white supremacist population out here, so maybe they're coming in for like a convention.
I don't know, but
Training.
one of them you sent me didn't have a license code. It was a specialty plate, so they don't have them. The other one was from a suburb near me. That didn't surprise me. And then the third one was from a place where like not very many fucking people live. It's not really like a white supremacy area. It's just like, dude, I bet there's like 500 people that even use that fucking plate to begin with.
Yeah.
So it was like extra strange of you're not even getting like a metro area that's all the license plate that like everybody has basically.
Like the Desert Shield Griffey of Idaho
Mhm.
license plates.
Mm-hmm. They're just
Nice.
forests. But yeah.
The trees
Cope.
drive.
Yep.
Cope, where did your name come from?
Oh, I had a character. I like the way that words sound, and I try to like put together interesting word combos a lot. There was when I was technically this came from when I played Final Fantasy 11 online when I was a kid. This was my character's name, and I just needed one. So I was like, okay, well, what sounds cool? Copernicus Hel. It's not even interesting at all. I do like scientist names. I when I work in gaming, I have my sort of gaming handle for all my companies is the same, and so it's Galileo, and so I just chose a scientist, and then Hell was just because it sounded good.
Naturally, as those things
Pretty exciting, yeah. Yeah, the funny thing about Copernicus Hell is if you say it, you get to activate all the areas. This is going to sound fucking nerdy as hell. You get to activate all the areas of the mouth. You get the sort of soft palate, hard palate. You get the post velar. You get the plosives, Copernicus Hell, and it takes 2 cycles around the mouth, which is just one of those things that's pretty satisfying if you say it slowly enough. And so it ends on a lilt, which is mellifluous in sort of poetic terms. Ending on a lilt makes something sound more beautiful. So those are just kind of things that it does.
What's the lilt?
Hell at the end. Hell is a lilt.
What is
Lil
okay? What is
Okay.
your favorite type of pentameter?
I mean, how can you look? How can you
I
get
only
away
know
from
one.
iambic? Because
Right.
look, it's the bar.
Get
I'm a-
me.
I'm a vanilla guy. However, I do like anapestic pentameter as well because anapest is pretty usual in Russian, and that's sort of what I studied. Well, one of the things I studied, and so anapestic pentameter is also pretty good when I'm speaking Russian. So
It's one of those things where you're like, "Hey, buddy, it's only a cliche because everybody used it because it was that good."
yeah,
Okay?
exactly.
Like,
It sounds good. That's why it's a sick
yeah,
beat.
it's like it's fucking 90% of shit is in it because it's just like the most natural way speak in some ways.
Anapestic pentameter, which is like a Russian sort of cadence and rhythm, sounds like do 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 as opposed to iambic, which is different. But yeah, that was a good question. That's allowed me to get really nerdy. Yeah, nobody else enjoyed it. That's fine. We can move on.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's okay.
I only know one
there in
pentameter,
silence.
so
Yeah,
you
me
want to
too.
talk about being or ethics or like metaphysics?
You
and
got
shit,
one
I'm there.
person. That's
Nope,
that's
you
all.
had
Go
that with
language, and I'm
DVD
like,
earlier. We
yeah.
don't need more of it.
You want to do language? I'm like, fuck, this is boring as hell.
Let me get my wife
I
on the
can
podcast.
tell. What do we want to talk about? I've got deep pockets. I can talk about anything.
Yeah.
Let's pick
We
the
have-
topics we don't like.
Well,
The
what are your
next
season
question-
highlights?
There you go.
Oh God, my season highlights. Jeez. Well, I got my first game. I like breezed through the first 3 innings. I think I told you all this, and I definitely talked on the top of the 10th podcast about this. But I remember literally thinking I might throw a no hitter my first time around, and then I got absolutely smashed. It really made me spin out. I was like, well, am I even good at this? Should I keep doing this anymore? I let down my team. So, that was really hard. And, I really do care about, like, I'm a leaderboard guy. Like, the community here is great, but if I wanted a community to chat with, I'd go join a chat room. But this is a game, and I like to be good at games. And so that was really, really hard for me to deal with, actually. Because I was like, man, do I suck? Am I stupid? I kind of went through all those, like, I got anxious about it. But then after that, I've done pretty well. And, I really appreciate sort of like, if you're going to take a punch to the face, you might as well, get it in the first round. So you know what the worst feels like. And so I've been doing pretty well after that. So I think the highlight of the season is pretty boring. It's just hanging out in the clubhouse. The Rays are like really good guys, and they're all adults. Like they're all like old adults. Like I'm like 37 years old, so they're all kind of my age, and it's very chill in there. We all have sort of very similar reference points in terms of pop culture, which makes sort of the human to human bond a little easier. Yeah, it's really nice. It's really cool. And so I just like the clubhouse. Other than that, highlight is just kind of I've been consistently okay since that 1 inning, and it's been nice watching myself climb back up the Raj War rankings, which is important to me. And then I finally broke into positive war on the non-Raj War rankings last game, and I'm hoping to get there in Raj War this game. Yeah, again, pretty fucking nerdy. Who cares? But I do.
You gave it. What was the Roger thing?
I that 1 inning like put me super negative Raj War, and of the top 5, yeah. And of the top
Sorry.
5 and of the 10th, our top 5, I am number 5. I had been for a while, and that embarrasses me. So I don't want to be the worst of the top 5. Not that it actually matters. By the way, I don't judge anybody except for myself. And so I'm climbing out of there, and that's been kind of its own fun challenge. A redemption arc is how I think of it.
Pitching sucks.
Sucks.
I
Yes.
hated it. I literally have to like sit and watch people pitch in MLN, and like it's just enough information to sit there and be like, "Fuck, you could not fucking force me to do that." Like I watch our own pitchers do it, and then I watch 2 pitchers do it in the game I ump. And you get both aspects of like the side that's winning and the side that's just fucking like I've umped games where you send someone back fucking 10 bad results in a row of just like single, double, home run, fucking walk,
Yes.
single, grand slam, and you're just like
Triple.
here, let me be your personal fucking just like torture fucking chamber right
Yeah,
here, but
Let me be the reason you struggle to go to bed tonight.
yeah, like every time you see my fucking name pop up in the fucking group chat name, it's just fucking horror. Like it's
that's
terrible. Like
for anybody who has not pitched, it is like when you get like a string of bad ones and you're doing everything you can and you're just like looking at numbers around you in real meat space, and you're like, well, like this they can't possibly scout this because this is just a number I picked off the wall, and then they zero diff it, and you're like, fuck.
And then you're like, how'd you do that? And the dude's like, it's my fucking grandma's birthday and I added 69 to it. And you're like, what the fuck, bro?
God damn it.
I just sat there for 20 minutes trying to think of that pitch, and you just like
Yeah.
Ooh, the worst
Yeah.
part is, I would say, like, the worst part is, like, you're in trouble, right? And then you're like, okay, well, I gotta get one more fucking guy. I gotta get one more guy. And you enter your pitch number, and then you sit there for full fucking 11 hours because they're in Australia or something. Sorry, Murphy
The
Bristlefield.
waiting's bad.
And then they finally get it in, and it's like a negative result, and you're just like, it's fucking.
Yeah.
It-
And then you pitch again,
so-
and the next person swings, and they fucking get a just strikeout within 5 minutes, and you're like, why could that not have just been the one before?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Well, what's worse is when.
it's
Oh, go ahead.
so dumb.
I was gonna
It's
say,
the
as a-
law that if someone takes over 11 hours, it's a hit.
Yep.
Not if you don't do it on purpose. If you genuinely, it's just like you said, it's like the time zone. You're busy, blah blah. When you genuinely need your entire timer, it's a fucking hit every single time.
And I was gonna say, like, as a batter, like I'll scout ahead and I know what I want to swing and I'm waiting for the pitch.
Yeah.
And it'll come here and I'll, get like a left ground out with a 400 diff. And it'll be annoying and I'll be whatever, then I get to start scouting some more and we're good. As the pitcher, like, you put in a number and you scout your number, you figure, okay, I did this, it's pretty obvious what I'm doing here, so I'm going to try something else. And then you wait for an interminable amount of time and it's just like, oh, the waiting is terrible.
Yeah,
it really is terrible. And you don't have control.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
The waiting gets very like trying to like check it all the time and shit, which just makes it feel slower.
And one of the
Yep.
other things that's difficult is I'm extremely competitive. It's a fucking blessing and a curse in my life, but I'm extremely competitive. And so, like, one of the things that happens is, like, in our top five, sometimes we'll go up against each other, and we went up against each other in FCB, of course. And I'm pretty close with the top of the 10th guys, more so than anybody else. So one thing that happened is I was kind of like during a FCB, I was just, and I didn't know what I was doing yet. I was just throwing up numbers out there, and then somebody hit me, and it was, I think it was Total or Cole or somebody, and then they were like, oh yeah, we read you, and I got so upset. Not like legitimately angry, but I was like, you couldn't have read shit. I was just guessing numbers, and then later Cole took me through like his like scout, and Cole is very good. He took me through his scouting, and he was like, actually, you do make this kind of trend pattern when blah 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 blah, and I was like, mother. Like, it makes it even worse when you were actually found out as opposed to when it was lucky.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Pitching
happier
sucks.
questions. See, I'm pitching right now. I just entered a pitch. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I was going to ask how you like Tampa, but obviously it's pretty great. So let's ask this. How do you feel about your new GM, Hanny?
He's great. I love. Oh my god, I have a funny story. I'm a comedian in real life. I do comedy, and so my sense of humor. It's pretty dark. Like, I have a pretty cynical sense of humor. Pretty skeptical outlook on the world, and sort of it finds its way into my humor a lot. And also, I've got a very keen sense of control and justice and honor. Sort of that I don't know, principles that I think are pretty important to me. And so so there was some like a roundabout way of saying, there was something that happened on one of Hanny's former teams, and somebody misspoke and said that he had allowed it. Anyway, it was a misunderstanding, and I took Hanny aside, before I knew him at all, and I was like, "Yo, dude, this is fucked up. What is this?" And he goes, "What?" And he was like, and I told him, like, "Here's how I read the situation." He goes, "Oh, that's what happened." And he told me, and I felt super bad. And that was before he asked me to join the team, and I was like, "Oh, so I put my foot in my mouth," is what happened. And then Henny, very understanding, very nice, cool dude, was just like, "Yeah, cool. Well, if you aren't still, if you start still holding that against me, I'd like you to join the Tampa Bay Rays. We're gonna draft you as our first pick at number 5 if you're okay with that." And I was like, yeah, that'd be super, super cool. So Hanny has been in my good graces ever since he gave me a little pass for being a little bit of a knucklehead. He's a great dude. He's the Tampa Bay clubhouse, I think, is just very, very chill and cool. And I didn't know that I wanted that, because the Okra, when I was in FCB, I really wanted to be on a team that was like super talkative, fun, blah 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 blah, just kind of machine gun kind of banter is what I thought I wanted. But it's really nice to kind of open it up, and then like the Tampa Bay dudes are, we play this trivia game, and we're all like, oh man, I could have guessed that. It's much more chill, and I really appreciated that.
That's good. I agree. I thought I wanted a more active, rapid fire sort of clubhouse when I was a rookie. And when I got to Philly, I'm like, why aren't we talking every 5 minutes? And then now I'm like, this is great. We talk a little bit. We don't talk all the time. If we need to talk about something, we can. People are around, but not,
It's like, it's not like you always are like, wow, there's 300 messages in my clubhouse, but like people don't actively get ignored. Like if someone said something like, oh, what's everybody up to tonight? Like it's not just nobody's going to respond either, you know? Like people are around if stuff's going on, but like people are also fine not talking, which is like totally fine with me. Because then on nights where people aren't busy, then there is activity.
Yeah. It's rare that I wake up to like 50, 75 messages, but it's also not like uncommon to wake up to 20. So
yeah, well, the nice thing about it is like if there's fewer messages, then the quality of the exchange, the social exchange, is a lot higher in my experience because you're not dealing with this fire hose. And when I was in FCB, the behavioral expectation that gets set, right? Because the idea is you're more active, you're going to get placed on better teams or whatever you're taught as an FCB player. I was like, am I going to have to? Is this going to be that kind of energy drain on me? I started out pretty hot when I joined FCB. I was talking a lot, and then I kind of like faded a little bit. And then that's when like Total and Dan and everybody really picked it up. But I was like, I don't think I can give this much energy to this hobby all the time, especially during the middle of the workday. So the slowness and the quality of the interaction has been preferable for sure.
Yeah, it's something that we kind of talked about a little bit recently. Well, within the top 5 is the idea that rookies are expected to be incredibly active just to be drafted highly, and they're expected to be everywhere and have Dayman-esque, 12,000 messages in XYZ in order to be the number 1 overall pick, when there's something to be said for a rookie who just kind of carves out their own little niche in, some clubhouse that they joined, and they'll obviously end up, where they want to, but it doesn't set a precedent of like burnout, but it can definitely result in that if you just go as hard as you possibly can during all of college baseball.
Yep.
Sorry, I've been playing too much fucking college football 25.
I'm on summer break and don't have to do anything to make my. God damn it, Leo! I am so jealous of you right now.
I literally went back to work yesterday. I don't know what you're talking about.
When did you? Okay, so you went back to work yesterday. When did you get off work?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. When was our last day? May 23rd was our last day with students.
I hate you so much. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. You deserve it. You did a hell of a job this year.
I'm enriching the minds.
Genuinely, hell of a
By
job
lying.
this year. But
By lying
God,
to them,
I
but-
hate you so much.
Leo, how's the hurt? How's the hurt in the skirt?
She's good.
I haven't seen her around in a while. I miss Corvette.
I'll send her your way.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, I wish that I want to go back and do like a college reunion games at some point. I think that'd be super fun.
I should make
I think they've
team
done a
server.
couple
What All Star
All-Star
is for.
Yeah.
Make a team server. Fighting Okra alum team server.
We've got one, I think. We've got the original, the college one. We talking it on occasion. We talk on occasion.
We just used that one for boys. Yeah. We used that one for the FCB team I was on too.
For Harvard.
Harvard. Yeah, I think the one of the things that happened to me is like if you haven't guessed, I got laid off from my own company. Pretty crazy. They ran out of money, and I can't not work. So that's effectively what happened. So I had to leave and go find a job that pays. Anyway, so what has happened though is I went from like having slow work to looking for a job, which is my job. So the way that's affected my MLR experience is I actually am not on as much as you think with somebody who doesn't have a job, because I don't want to. Because when I have a job, I'm sitting at my computer all day. So one of the things that's been really interesting is I've been trying to like keep in touch, but I haven't been as active lately. So I've been feeling a little disconnected from the community recently. And I just kind of always think back to how fun it was in those early college days. So there's something to be said about sort of the behavioral expectations set. In those early days and how you're expected to go on. And, other people's expectations shouldn't matter. But, like, for example, I do feel the sort of pressure of having been somebody's first round pick and then, being there and scouting a lot and pumping up the clubhouse and that kind of thing. I wonder if you all felt that at all, or how you feel like other rookies handle that in your experience.
Oh, I definitely felt it. I definitely felt it. I felt it on the field when I was terrible, and I felt it in the clubhouse trying to do some like organizational stuff and just leadership stuff. And I mean, I don't know, Stupito, you can even go look at this probably yourself, but I'm sure in locker room, no, it's probably not in locker rooms, probably you can't look. There are, front office channels within the Phillies, which is me just going, hey, Petra, am I allowed to do this? Or maybe it's in DMs. Like, I don't know if I should say that or not, but I feel like this needs to be said or whatever. And she's just like, I don't care. Like, that's what you're here for. So, yeah, like you feel like because you're picked early, and also because you're picked early for being the type of person that you are, which I wasn't picked early because I was fun to be around like Damon. I was picked early because I was active and, organized things within UCC a bit. I think that's what I thought was. So you feel like you need to do that. But also, like, that's the fun for me in the hobby is the organizational stuff. So, like, that's part of the reason. I don't know, are we allowed to talk about loam stuff?
Loam? Oh, loam, yeah. I mean, I can't give you that permission. So I don't know if you're asking me.
I was asking mostly.
For context, we are in the middle of session 8.
Nah, 8.
8.
Yeah, 8 because it's position
And
change forms.
we're in the midst of loam elections.
Thank you for using the proper name.
You have
Loam.
3 of the potential candidates here.
Yep, 3
Oh,
And
in
Copernicus.
and me, yeah.
and Leo.
Yeah, I'm also here.
Dayman, are you okay talking about it? We don't have to. Anybody can say no. Dayman or Stupido can say no. I don't give a shit. So
I
Say
don't
what
care.
you want to say.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say part of the fun for me in this is like organizing and setting shit up and getting like doing the community stuff so that things work better for people and people are more engaged and have fun. That's why I did the loam stuff. That's why I put myself up for loam. Is that's the fun for me. So yeah, I feel the pressure to be that, but also I feel the pressure to be that kind of because of the pick, but also I'm going to do that anyways because if I'm playing this game, that's how I play. If that makes sense.
And somewhat similar to me, I have tried being a player, and I'm not very good at it. I tried being a co-GM, didn't really enjoy it. But I enjoy the idea of being a leader of some sort, and I feel like a loam is less of a GM style role and more of a, I don't know how to word it, but more of a leadership role where you're not worried about one team with specific aspects. You are there to make sure the league is running smoothly. And that hits more on my skills than being a GM would.
How do you do the... I'm going to add a note here. I think I can add a note here. Craig.
Yeah, just slash.
What's that?
It's just slash note, I think, or add note.
I don't think I'm able to. How do I put a timestamp on Craig Stupido?
I can add one real quick.
Sorry, Damon, before you do it, I wanted to offer this, but I wanted to have the ability to have it removed. So, Stupido, if you're adding that note there, we'll possibly remove this. Thank you, guys. Loam things truck ass. Those are great notes. Stupido, after sharing a clubhouse with you for a little bit, I
Yeah.
totally see you as being a dude who might have more fun playing this not on a team.
Wow, interesting.
I
I
don't
get
mean
what
to say
you're
that in
saying.
any sort of negative way at
I know
all. Like,
exactly what you're saying.
I feel like I feel like you would have such a better time, or you would have so much fun doing just that. And I don't think it's that you don't enjoy the team part, because obviously you do. But I think, yeah, I totally makes sense what you're saying. And I kind of put that together there.
So what you're telling me is you're cutting me at the end of the year.
No, what I'm telling you is that when you elect to go into free agency, I'm not going to be surprised when you don't sign with anybody.
We'll see.
Yeah, which is fine. I'm going to cry, but that's just me.
Typical.
So back from the cut, if we cut. Dayman,
Back
what were
from
you
the
going to say about stuff and things?
I just, as far as like the original question of like if you're feeling like a pressure because you were the first pick, or like your team's first round pick or whatever. Let's see. Well, I got picked to the worst team, and then we were the worst team again. That was really fun. You can probably imagine like the comments on how helpful you are when you just. In my mind, I was extra helpful because we sailed right on to another really good pick. Is that not fucking helpful? To me, that seems pretty helpful, right? Like, so I don't know, maybe
failed upward.
perspective. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really like feel things like that, I guess, because it's just so much of the shit is not really in your control. Like, it's not like it's like the same shit in real baseball. It's like exactly why the Mariners could have Ken Griffey Jr., like one of the best baseball players ever, and be fucking terrible. That dude can only hit one every 9 times. Like, they can, like, your star pitcher can only pitch every so many days, you know? Like, it's not like fucking basketball where you can just run your dude to the low post like every play and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just have Steph Curry shoot a 3 for you every single time and then just bank that you're gonna win 70% of that shit. Like, it's just not how it works. Obviously, it's not real athletics either. But I'm just saying, in any one of those scenarios. So to me, it's just, I don't know.
And not only that, we're guessing numbers.
Yeah, it's like,
yes, there's some scouting and abilities to narrow that number down, but at the end of the day, you're still picking a number between 1 and 1,000.
Yeah,
so
like, it's just,
even if you were perfect in college, always got hits, doesn't mean you're going to do the same in MLR.
no, yeah, I would say that, like, much more like, I think, especially when you're like on a team that is literally getting like 2 wins over the, like, the expectation for people is so low because obviously, like, that shit happens for a reason. So it's like, if you are even just like managing something to where it's just like you're not autoing and like lineups are being released on time and like people just genuinely know what's going on, of just like, okay, we're playing this team and this is where we're at and this is what's going on, and like conversations gonna be had, is like so much more important than whether or not like you get a fucking single or like a strikeout or something.
Right.
Like, that part literally just is not very meaningful to me. I mean, Leo can speak to this. We're on a team in MLN together. We're on the same MILR team. And so last year I co-GM'd a minor league team. This year I co-GM one. And then I became an MLN co-GM like 3/4 of the way through last year. And then like, on any one of those teams, like, all of our shit is normally just like set up and done right, like way before the game even starts. If that is like the only contribution I can offer to you, like, you can decide how much that's fucking worth. But to me, in my mind, like, for like how, like, I mean, like, we all fucking say of just like the silliness of everything, like, that seems like a perfectly fucking acceptable bar, and much more than like many others. Just like any team that like I have some say in, like, most of our shit is just gonna be done 2 days before the game, of everything set up, and like that morning I'm gonna wake up early to like make sure everything's set up and running and starting and not broken and stuff. Like, all I can offer. I felt like I did that okay last year for for St. Louis, even just for captain stuff, and then for the minor league team, and for this year for the teams I run. So like, I don't feel too much pressure about that sort of shit, because I'm just like the things I have control of. Like I feel like I'm doing well. So whether or not I hit a home run or not, that's kind of beside the point.
I would push that a little further, Damon, because you also do a lot of the umping stuff and are the ump helper now. And so if that makes a lot of sense too, because that seems like that's how you play this game is allowing other people to play the game and making sure everything's set up and good to go.
Yeah, like it's just
facilitator.
Yeah. It just
Which
it seems so easy to me to see like like people have like so many stories of just dickheads or dumb people being in charge is not doing shit. It's just like things are not like that complicated, dude. Like
it's really not.
You can choose from this many people, and like you get to choose if those people are on your team or not, even in the first place. Like I don't know. It's obviously it's a little more complicated than that when you fucking take over a team or something. But at the end of the day,
What about you, Leo?
Hello. What's the question?
Leo doesn't care about
Get
shit.
divert a bit.
Oh, the question was,
does
how
him.
well do you pay attention in long conversations, and how would you rank yourself?
Oh, terrible. I think
Okay,
I have
alright,
ADHD.
He's not really a lecturer.
I'm pretty sure I have it. I'm going to try and be a lecturer this year, and it's going to kill me. Yeah, I think I have ADHD. I had some pretty fun moments where my coworkers not accused me. They said I have had autism moments when we were
they
out
showed
eating
up with
lunch today.
pitchforks.
That's very, very friendly and kind of him.
I love them. I
mean-
unironically missed my coworkers a lot. They're really good people, and I enjoyed spending time with them. So
On your 3-month vacation?
Except for what about the one fucking bitch ass lady? They're not a teacher though, I don't think.
which one?
One fucking bitch ass.
Yeah,
lady.
which one?
There's a really defining characteristic, but I don't want to say it.
She's got a 5 head. It's a huge forehead.
DM it to me. DM it to me. I'll confirm or deny it. I won't
My
say what she.
girlfriend. Oh, go ahead.
No,
His
I'm not going to.
students probably listen to this podcast, I assume. So
She's definitely listening.
God.
She is Teddy.
I'm not going to say her name or anything. Obviously.
she's Teddy.
No, we're going to fully dox her. If you don't say her social security number, like I'm gonna lose my fucking.
Oh no, she's not an admin. She's not an admin. She's in the department.
Okay, her
She's
name
in
is
the what?
Margaret Hammermill.
She's in
She
the-
lives in
the
Mills Press, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Wow, the
She's in the
Hammer Mill
department with me.
paper company?
Dude, that's exactly what I was looking at. Yes. Well done. Well done.
You tried to Kaiser Soze Stupido and he called you right on.
I sure did.
Yeah, she's in the social studies department with me. Crazy. We didn't lose a single person from the social studies department for going from last year to this year.
Well, yeah, they all have coaching jobs. Why would you give that shit up?
Wow, shots fired.
I thought one of them was going to become
Yeah.
the vice president on the Democratic ticket. Is that not the same coaching staff?
Shout out. Tim.
Hey man,
Walls.
if you don't like that, then you don't fucking. I bet you wouldn't have voted for fucking George McGovern either. Fucking
Shout out
Tim
traitor.
Walls, if you're
Shout out
listening,
Tim
you're welcome on the
Walls.
podcast. We're going to talk to you about
Absolutely.
fake baseball.
Absolutely. No,
Tim
just tell me
Walls.
how to fix my own shitty state and turn it into Minnesota, please.
Tim Walls help my
Step
help
one,
my
get Tim
high
Walls
school
as your
football
governor.
team.
Yeah.
Step 3, profit.
Let's get back onto the Copernicus questions here real quick.
Oh,
Cope,
yeah, sure.
if you're a
Copernicus,
comedian,
would you make Tim your fucking VP?
I'd make him more than that. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
fuck
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
man.
Yeah, that's
Make him
exactly
the
what you thought I'm.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
hell yeah, okay.
He'd be my
All right.
department head. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, I was about to make a joke.
Be
similar
his
to that.
Secretary of State, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyway.
What's the next question?
what's
Copernicus,
a good segue?
if you're a comedian, why aren't you funnier? That's the next question. But now I'm really uncomfortable because I don't know
We just
No,
what you
went
guys
there.
are all
boy.
doing with
Pretty funny.
Mr. Waltz.
Yeah, I believe I just disproved that by being extremely funny. So next question.
Got it.
Yeah,
Are you
got it.
jealous
Hey,
of any
before
other facet of
let's-
your life?
Yeah, never mind.
Go ahead, stupido. What?
I was gonna say, do you know Jimmy Pardo, the comedian? I don't, not
course,
personally.
yeah.
Have you heard of Jimmy Pardo? I
Yes,
used to listen
yes,
to
yes.
his podcast, and he used to joke that on the beginning comedy circuit, there are so many people who were told, like, at the water cooler, like, "You're funny, you should be a comedian," and they objectively are not. They're just funny in the office.
They're coworkers.
As I know, I've been doing professional comedy, aka, and when I say professional, I mean getting paid for it for almost 20 years now, for a long time.
Jesus.
And obviously it's not my career, but I've been doing it, and in the circles, and I've been part of nothing anybody would have ever heard of unless you live in San Francisco or Los
Did
Angeles.
Louis
But
C.K. do anything to you?
that's what I was just about to say. Yeah, he did.
Okay. Yeah.
He did. I
Oh,
felt very
man.
bad for him too, because I consented immediately. I wanted to see what would happen. I
Dude,
was excited about
definitely.
it.
Dude, some of that shit genuinely does suck though, when you're just like, man, I really do not like this fucking dude, but you kind of being a terrible person is what makes your humor hilarious. Like,
Oh my God.
he has some funny ass shit, like of him having to go to the bathroom with his fucking kids as they're checking out groceries, and it's like going slow, and he eventually is just like, leave it, and he's like running down the street and like trying to carry his two daughters, and they have like the groceries, and he just like throws them. It's like, just fucking leave it. It's so
I just
funny.
watched
It's
Sorry
like
Not
terrible
Sorry.
person though.
Yeah, I just watched Sorry Not Sorry, the sort of mini doc about that whole situation.
Yeah.
So again, this is not actually, joking aside, as a comedian who hangs out with all my friends are comedians, and they have been for a very long time, basically. Yeah, if you do comedy, there's a chance that you're a little fucked up, and I think, not
Right, that's
necessarily
where I
in
was
a
going with that.
morally
for
ambiguous
sure,
way
obviously.
all the time, but
Yeah.
something happened to you. Because right, the thing that you're chasing, and I'm saying this very generally, by the way, of course, you just
Yeah.
have to understand I'm talking in generals here, that your residual self-image as a comedian is one that is required, a requisite of your existence, and sort of the reason you wake up is validation from external forces. And so, which one would explain why I want to be good at baseball. You can kind of see how this sort of thread would work its way into in sort of any aspect of my life. And I think talking to you, you'll figure this out.
I don't think anybody is on this podcast because they're self-secure. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, just saying, like, all comedians are fucked up. That's. By the way, this is not diminishing the horrible things that Louis did at all. So I'm just
No,
saying.
it's just to general to anyone of like, there's so
Yeah,
many
no.
comedians who are like just terrible people, but like they made funny shit of, just like Jerry Seinfeld infamously is like pretty sure is into 14-year-old fucking girls, because like
Pretty
there
sure,
was
yeah.
multiple yeah, but pretty
Definitely.
fucking
Shout out.
sure.
I'm sure he's listening too.
Yeah,
He's
shout out.
down.
Yeah, because he
Actually,
thinks we're fucking kids. But it's like,
I emailed him.
I emailed him.
Jerry at Seinfeld.net. Yeah, I told him to
Yeah.
Harry
listen.
at Seinfeld.
Yeah, ask him if he ever used that fucking bike at his apartment, piece of shit.
Oh no.
He did use it, but not for biking purposes. I can't divulge anymore. I've got NDAs.
I know that you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like, you have
course
to,
I do.
right? Yeah, of
I've seen it
course.
all.
Like,
I
you
love it,
have
yeah.
to, of course.
Was that a Curb Your
Uh,
Enthusiasm joke? Is that why I didn't get it?
It's just Curb is written by Larry David,
Larry
who
David.
obviously wrote
Yeah.
Seinfeld with fucking Jerry, and like it's so much similar, but it has a lot of like the Jerry Seinfeld obviously taken out of it. It's like the humor is just so much more fucked up, and him just being so fucking hilarious. Like, I'm pretty sure he
One of
tells
the-
Richard Lewis to kill himself like 40 fucking times. How are you
Yeah,
not fucking
wow.
dead yet? They're best friends in the show. I'm your best friend of 20 years. How are you not fucking dead yet, man? Like, it's so good. It totally reminds me of your sense of humor, my guy.
I'm a lot like my girlfriend and I. We watch Curb. Well, my girlfriend also thinks I'm autistic, by the way. So I've had that same.
Hey, join the fucking club.
That's what I was saying. What I was going to say there earlier. But we watch Curb, and she started. When we started watching it together when our relationship first started,
Yeah.
she kind of like took a pause and like was not having fun anymore watching it, and I kind of saw her like regarding me a certain way, giving me the sidelong glance. She goes, "You're a lot like." and
dude,
then I totally am.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember what episode is it. The fucking there's one so I showed my girlfriend that show too, and I showed her just like a random episode, and she fucking she said you're a lot like Larry David, and like as we started watching the show more and more, she like simultaneously was like, okay, you're even more like him, but not maybe like that. Obviously, it's like a little bit hyperbolic for like sense of humor, but the fucking episode where Richard Lewis's girlfriend is a Christian Scientist and won't take Benadryl but she had an allergic reaction, and they're trying to go to the fucking like Oscars, and her face is all swollen and looks fucking gross. And so Richard Lewis is like trying to ask Larry like to help him slip her some like Benadryl or something, so that because she's like I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. And so like they like ask Cheryl, fucking Larry's wife, how to if she can bake some brownies with Benadryl in it. And there's like this fucking scene where Cheryl's like why can't you just like like put it on top of it? And Larry just looks at her and just goes, haven't you ever tampered with anything before? And like he said that shit, and she looked at me and goes, "Oh my fucking god!" And it's like, "You're Larry David." And we just every episode, like as we watch more and more, she just keeps saying that fucking shit, because I do that all the time. Where I'm just like, "Haven't you ever tampered with anything before?"
Oh, I find myself agreeing with Larry a lot of the time.
All the time.
And I'm like, he's right.
Yeah, all the time, dude. The fucking ice cream sample. Where he's like, no, you're taking advantage of the sampling spoons. Like, and it's the admissions lady for the fucking school the kids are trying to get into.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Fucking Larry.
What was the question?
No, we were talking about the comedy stuff, and I was just saying that like you have to watch that shit because that totally reminds me of you. And then
the next question.
Yeah, the next question is the right answer. What's the next question?
The last question.
I'm actually curious. What do you have your favorite joke that you've written?
Well, I do improv comedy, and then I write sketches. So so improv you don't, but sketches I write sketches. But actually, if you want to see some of my comedy writing, God, and the answer is like, zero of you will want this. But I have I write comics as well, comic books, and I actually have a web comic if you wanted to read it. Gives you a little insight into my humor and how I think about the world. And it's about me and my girlfriend. It's called I'm My Girlfriend's Boyfriend. And I'll put a link somewhere if somebody wants to read it. But I've got a few episodes up, and you can read it. And it's pretty. I mean, I like it. I wrote it. But that would be the best way to. That's one of my favorite outputs that's publicly available. But otherwise, I mean, my comedy is on the spot. It's I have a big show called Drunk Theater. I've been running it for 7 years, and basically we do entire plays on the spot, so not just little scenes that are sort of disconnected, but we'll do 25-minute plays back to back. But the conceit of the show, and this is why people come, because nobody actually cares about improv, is one of us takes 5 shots in a row before we do it, and so you kind of have to watch that person descend into the madness of being drunk on stage.
Two questions on that.
Go for it.
First of all, you big Whitest Kids You Know fan, aren't you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
big
first thing I like thought of that shit. Secondly, that like reminds me of a fucking from the show Brockmire. They did a podcast like that where he would just drink an entire fifth of whiskey, and then that show
was so good.
Yeah,
that's Hank Azaria as the baseball guy, right?
Yeah. He would just and it was like basically that he'd just been around for forever, so he knew like all the legends and shit, and like he did a podcast like arc where like he would just drink a fifth of whiskey, and then as he started drinking, he would just have he would just like yell out a word, and people just start shouting shit, and he'd be like, "That reminds me," and then just go on a fucking story about it. Like, oh man, so good.
His diatribe on like why we're in an ass society now as opposed to a boob society, actually, it's like perfectly illustrates the thesis of my dissertation, and it's really fucking weird. I know
that is hilarious.
It's like the whole idea. I'm not gonna be able to make the humor of it because it's just too much. But the whole idea is that we were a boob society for so long because only white men, rich white men, got to say what they liked and what was sexy, and it was boobs. But now that blacks and gays, and he had a list of people, Mexicans, I don't remember who it was. All these stereotypical people who are into asses have come out and says like now that we have a plural, basically the idea is now that we have a plurality of viewpoints, basically opinions. Now that you get more than one way of looking at a thing, you have a different consensus of the ideal. And one of the parts of my dissertation is that like the best we can have, the best way to this is hard to say in the context, but the best way for us to know what is best, or the way to get the best understanding of anything, is to have a plurality of viewpoints upon that thing, to be able to like basically get the best view, the truest view of it. The more views on a thing, the richer your view is. The richer the view is, the better the norm is kind of the way to talk about it.
It's closer to like the like norm or like mean idea, right? Like,
Well, that's the idea behind democracy, right?
Well,
that's fundamentally what democracy would be.
There's no existent norm or mean or truth out there. Like, we build it together communally, and the more input you have on it, the better you have an understanding of it. So that's not saying that like if 75 people are able to look at one thing,
right,
we're going to be able to understand what the thing is.
Yeah.
No, it's the more people look at a thing, the more different views you have of it. And even if like most of them are crappy, you get more good ones, and then the crappy ones get shown as crappy because they're deficient in certain ways.
Yeah.
The problem with democracy is there's no overriding constitutive center that says that like there's no correct regardless, but they don't discard the ones that are obviously contradictory. So like if I look at a thing and 17 people say it's green but 100 say it's red, well, probably the 17 people are wrong, and we can talk about it as red because whatever. Democracy doesn't have such checks on that, you know?
Yeah, not in practice. Not in practice.
Well, I mean, no, just not in like democracy.
It's really hard because it like is the slippery slope to like just like censorship and shit. Like, who gets to determine what is like objectively not like opposed, you know?
Yeah, it's really more. It's less democracy than it is more like laissez-faire capitalism.
Yeah, it's the idea that reality is more or less constructed of a sort of a house of cards of unusual and unspoken agreements between the masses, which I think is a pretty interesting. Oh, sorry. Now we're not having fun. Now we're getting into this crazy.
But like,
we're talking about
but like the idea, the idea of like a big ass being like the sexual ideal or something like that. It's not true. Like, asses aren't the sexiest thing objectively. I know, Damon, you're an ass man. I know.
No,
I agree. I actually,
I know exactly what part of the show you're talking about, and it's fucking hilarious. Like, you're summing it up very well.
Yeah, but like the idea that asses are the best isn't like true in itself. An ass is not inherently sexy. It's just it's emblematic of more of our society than just like a bunch of white dudes controlling big titted.
Isn't that conversation from the episode where that chick punches him in the face for trying to eat her ass without even like kissing her first? And she goes, "You fucking gotta have dinner before you have dessert, motherfucker."
Whoa,
and like beats his ass. Like, is the funny. He started giving gift baskets to people he slept with. It was a whole thing. My favorite part of that show is when he, like, before it gets super unhinged, he goes on this fucking rant against like the town's rivals, like the rival minor league team, Butler, and he like starts a fucking riot, and he does it on like Dollar Beer Day, and like he goes, it's like through a series of like 4 scenes, and it's just every single time it gets more and more like they say the air's better over there. Like, they have an actual air of superiority. And it's true because their town's built on the hills, so they overlook all the toxic gases. And it's like, it just goes on and on from there. It's like, I heard that and it's just the most outrageous shit. I heard they killed Lincoln. Maybe. They, stole your girlfriend. Probably. Like, it's so fucking
in season 1. That's great.
Yeah, that's like an OG moment. Yeah.
That's right by where I live.
Is it? No shit.
Yeah.
There's a legendary scene from that too where he fucking pisses himself while someone's on top of him, and he goes, "Are you peeing?" "Oh, I'm peeing." And then the scene just ends.
So we're getting to the point where we got to wrap it up because I have to go do dishes. So Cope, what questions might you have for us?
I think I've kind of folded them into the episode. I think There was somebody told me once, and I've always appreciated this as sort of a community seeker. Since I'm inextricably tethered to the social species that we are. Although I suppose Stupido might not fit into this because he wants to play by himself, according to Jock, or would appreciate it. Mostly joking, but I think I think that there's three things that you can always like connect with somebody on, and it's people want to be loved. People are afraid of things, and people love food. And so if you can talk about all of those things, that can help you establish a bond really quickly. So my question to you all is sort of a tripart question. What makes you feel loved? What do you like when somebody? What's the best thing somebody can do for you? What's the thing you're most afraid of? And what's your favorite food and why?
You're gonna have to say this again.
Okay, I'm gonna
It's
go
only
first, and
Love,
I'm gonna
afraid, food.
say I'm not gonna answer any of your questions, and I'm gonna ask you one instead. Who should I give player of the game to for this game? Someone who had 2 hits, 2 runs, who's 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored, and it looks like they hit a single. It was a few singles, I think. Or the pitcher who went 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, and a walk. Or someone with 2 RBIs.
Well, who hasn't gotten recognized before?
That's not how it works.
Okay, well, you can't ask me. That's how I would answer that. I'm going to say the pitcher just out of solidarity then, because I think pitching is harder than hitting.
Stupido, can you answer that question for me? 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run, or 2 out of 3 with 2 runs scored, or 1 out of 3 with 2 RBIs.
We'll
5 to
go
1
ahead and
win.
scrap the 1 out of 3. What
Okay,
was the
good.
score?
That's
5 to 3.
5 to 1.
5 to 1.
But the
pitcher.
1 was the
I
Pirates.
would give it to the
Who are the
pitcher,
best?
Yeah, it's the pitcher, baby.
but I tend to favor the pitcher in those tight questions like that.
5 or 6, anything over 5 innings and 1 run or less, normally I will probably give it to you. If 6 innings and 1 run, I will, and or less, 1 or 0, I will 100% give it to you. At 5, I start to be like,
Well, they probably brought in a save.
Yeah, they did.
That's why.
They were up by 4, and then there was 2 people on the bases, so the pitcher didn't actually get a save.
I'll
Yeah,
answer
for
the
the-
actual question.
If they inherited 2 runners, didn't they get the save?
Maybe don't answer all 3.
No,
Maybe you
because
can pick one.
they were up by 4, so the tying run never came to the plate.
Got it.
You have to be only up by 3.
I thought the tying run has to be on deck.
Tying run on deck.
Is it tying run on deck?
Tying run on deck.
That sounds like a save, buddy.
It's a save, baby.
Oh yeah, tying run on deck.
So love,
Leo,
I was thinking
answer the
it should have been
question.
one, and then
yeah,
was
love
very
I'd say
confused.
is when people want to hang around me. I just enjoy hanging around people a lot, and when they make it known that my company is valued, I think that's really important to me. Just because I enjoy hanging around them, and I hope that they feel the same way. Afraid. I don't know. Death, inevitable.
Scary.
Yeah, food.
Okay. Good thing you won't care.
Yeah, food. Oh gosh, I'm not picky regarding food. I'll eat anything so long as it's like cooked well and like well seasoned. So I mean, I had Wingstop today. That was pretty good.
Hell yeah!
Oh, my
What flavor?
girlfriend's friend works at Wingstop. So good.
Wingstop.
Yeah, what flavor?
Wingstop garlic parmesan tenders with lemon.
Oh yeah, we all whenever we
Tenders.
go,
the tenders are very good.
we always grab the garlic parmesan flavor or something though. My girlfriend's friend will usually give us a little hookup.
Of course, the
Well,
Wingstop.
Leo, I love that we're hanging out with you, man, and I appreciate your presence here.
I appreciate you appreciating my presence.
Nice.
The same. That's my husband.
Yep. Dab me up, husband.
Pretend I sent you the dab that you know what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Video, what you got?
I'm going to pass on the first 2, and I will answer on the third.
Cowards.
As long as I don't have to cook it, I enjoy just about anything.
Hell yeah. Just something made for you.
Empanadas.
Those empanadas were really good.
Oh my god,
I
so good.
fucking love empanadas. Oh man,
A little pocket of deliciousness.
what flavor were they? Like, what were the fillings?
What were
One
they?
was chorizo. You didn't finish the chorizo, and one was their own, like it's peppers and beans and mole and stuff.
That reminds me of the
It's really good.
breakfast I had. Oh, I
Yeah,
had a
that
chorizo
sounds
omelet.
Oh, I love chorizo. The hot dog cart by the bar. We always, whenever we go to the bar, we go to like the goated hot dog cart. Chorizo every time.
You're up, brother. Chuck.
I don't know the questions again. What is it? One more time.
What makes you feel loved in the world? What are you afraid of? And what food is your favorite food and why?
What makes me feel loved? Well, generally family, but my wife does a good job of telling me I'm a good father.
Oh, damn, that's
Uh,
cool. That's nice.
This lately, it hasn't been happening as much lately because I've been getting up a little earlier. But my wife would get my son up, and I wouldn't get up yet. But he would come in and open the door and say, "Hi, Daddy," and then come and give me a hug, and then run downstairs. He only wants mom, and he only whatever like if he's pissy or happy or whatever. Like if I open the door from the office and come out, my wife and I share an office. He goes, "Mommy," and then he goes, "Daddy." But he starts his day off by coming in and hugging me, which is cute. And
That's cute.
what was the next one?
What are you scared of? What's
Death.
one of your biggest fears?
Abandoning my children.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's
Yeah.
deep.
And
That's
food.
deep. And now
And,
food.
Dude, so those empanadas are really, really good. Like those are really good.
They got a hold on you, man.
dude.
There's this
He's thinking
Venezuelan
about 'em.
restaurant downtown, and we do not have good Mexican food in my area.
Oh, really? Damn.
Oh yeah.
So
No,
it
there's-
was like extra fucking good.
So
then,
these empanadas are. Pittsburgh is like a predominantly white town and has been for some time, and
Yeah.
then all the minorities got kicked out anyways, like systematically across a few generations, and so there's just
I'm
not a lot of good
familiar
ethnic
with
food.
the general trends of American history.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pittsburgh
we had
is a
we had
microcosm.
white flight in St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like really good Mexican food here, and there's a fucking empanada place that it looks like it should not be in business. It is so fucking good though. Like
Oh, dude.
it looks like an abandoned building.
That means it's better.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
Yeah.
I trust it, because I'm just like, dude, fuck yeah. Like yeah, it's
One of the
super
best
good. The
parts
people there are
about
super
living
nice.
in San Francisco, it's a world city, right? It's very, very
Oh,
diverse.
dude.
I have
Yeah.
access to like the best type of any kind of cuisine you can think of, maybe except for barbecue and regional pizza. But I'm pretty particular about those things. But if I want any kind of cuisine, I can go get something, and at worst, it's going to be good.
Yeah, last time I was there, like one night two of my friends lived there. We walked like so far. I think it was only like 2 miles, but that feels like fucking
Yep.
light years from
I
like
mean, 2
market
miles,
to
like,
yeah, and 2 miles through the
40
city is like, especially like it was like a good hour and a half fucking walk for sure.
Where'd you go?
For
not a
30
Well,
minute walk.
okay, so my friends my friend and her wife live in Sunset. And
Oh
so we
man, that's
took
a
the
long
train.
run.
Yeah, so we took the train to like we visited them a few times. This last time we went, they live like right by Golden Gate Park. Like
Sure.
their the end of their block is the edge of the park. And so we took the train to like Market, which is where they used to live, and I hated visiting them when they lived off of in like Soma.
Yeah, it sucks down there.
Yeah, it was like when they lived down there, like they had told me the time I visited them, like we went outside to smoke, and they had this homeless dude that they would give cigarettes to, who would make sure other people didn't like fuck with them, because there was like a
Yeah.
few like violent homeless people around, but which is like pretty par for the course. But anyways, yeah, we walked from so we took the train to Selma, and then we walked from like Selma to the fucking wharf. That
Ooh,
shit
that's a walk.
sucked. And
That's a
I
walk.
was fucked up. Because first thing we do is go to the fucking dispensary. And the
Yep.
first thing they do is they see your Idaho license and they just go, oh, and we're like, what are you in town for? And we're like, we're here to party with our friends. And they're like, let me fucking get to go to the cabinet with you here, bud. Like, let me like give you some fucking shit that's gonna fuck you up. The night after that, we walked from like Castro, like down fucking to I don't even know where. It took forever. But dude, there's so much food. So much food. It's so good. I go back to Boise after that shit, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh
man.
wow, it's 9 p.m. and fucking even McDonald's is closed. That's fucking
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
McDonald's.
There's some really good
crazy.
restaurants here because I might have talked about this before. People use Pittsburgh as like a restaurant incubator before they go to New York. Like that was the
Interesting.
trend
Yeah, that
for a
makes
while.
sense. That makes sense.
And so we had some like really good stuff, but not in the suburbs, right? And so
Yeah.
there's like a neighborhood tax because I live in like a ritzy suburb or whatever. It's not even like the richest one, but it's richer, and
I've seen
it
your
just
castle.
sucks. It's a
Yeah,
pretty
no,
big.
I feel it. Like here, there's a lot of good restaurants too, but like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and
Happy
you're
days.
fucked. You're like, yeah.
That was nice.
Happy day.
Good things
Like
happening
you're
there.
like you're just fucked. Like you're like there's nothing. But like Thursday, like to Sunday, like you're okay. But like shit is also really expensive here.
Yeah,
Like
really, really.
last
really.
time we went to San Francisco, literally like we went out to dinner a few times, and I was like, genuinely, this is not that much more expensive than in Boise. Of course, it was more, but like not that much more. Like maybe 15 or 20%, but
Oh,
enough to
fucker.
be like that wasn't really that bad. Like I would have spent 80 at my own house. Like it was 120. Like
San Francisco
90.
is very expensive. The nice thing about it being expensive, I mean, living here is wild. Obviously, maybe the most expensive place besides Manhattan in America. But the nice thing is
Yeah.
when I travel, and I do like to travel, nothing else. Like if somebody was like, "Oh, you're going to go to Tokyo?
Yeah.
That's so expensive." I'm like, "Nah, it probably won't be."
Tokyo
Not
is
comparatively.
Yeah,
cheap.
dude. My
Tokyo
friend
is
who
cheap.
my friend who lives in SF like is from here, and then she met like her wife who was living in SF, so she moved there. And so it's like every time she comes back into town, she's like, let's go do all this shit because it's fucking nothing. Like
It costs anything.
it's nothing. And it's
Yeah, when
just
I go back
like,
to St. Louis, it's the
yeah,
same.
yeah, it's like because like even when we're there and we go out and stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's not that much more expensive, but like after the second week it is like for some things, or like at first or a few times you go out and you're like, that's not really that much more, but you're like all the time, of course, it's like astronomically more. But yeah, like I love visiting there though. Like I definitely thought about maybe living there, and had to contemplate it for like a good bit.
Well, I mean,
It's
if you move
much
here and you get a
different than
job, the pay scales to the area.
right.
I moved from St. Louis, and I was paying, I don't know, $500 a month to live in a pretty big studio apartment downtown St. Louis
Oh,
as just out of grad school. And then I looked at rent out here, and to live with 5 people, I was paying, I don't know, $2,000 a month. And I was
Yeah, I
like,
was
I
about
don't
to
know
say.
how anybody can afford. And then, of course, my salary scaled. But yeah, I've lived in the South, I've lived in the Midwest, I've lived in big cities in the Midwest, and Chicago and Atlanta and St. Louis and whatever. I actually cannot imagine living outside of California anymore. Like maybe I would move to Seattle, maybe Portland, but it changed me. I don't know for the better or what, but it did change me. So yeah, I really love it out here. All the
I've
things you
never
hear
had
about
a
on the news are bullshit.
I've never had a bad experience there. I've probably been there like 4 or 5 times now. And like I've seen all that sort of shit. Like my fucking friends work at like out in Hunters Point. Like I've fucking seen,
Mhm.
the sort of shit they talk about like on that sort of thing. And it's just like that sort of thing really didn't bother me. It was like it was other stuff. And it's like it's just really hard to fathom too when you're like, what do you mean? Like your fucking rent's $3,500,
Yep, that's what
And
my rent
like
is.
yeah, right. Like my friends who live in Sunset, theirs is 37, and when they lived in Soma, it was 39.
Yep.
And
That's
it's really just like impossible to imagine. But then it's like we were talking, like we went, they were telling me about like their jobs, and it's just like, oh, well, okay. It was like what they make, like they would not make, they would maybe make like 50K here doing that, but like
Mhm.
they do like, you know, like spa stuff. Like here, that would be like okay, but there is like totally fine to live on. You know,
Yep.
I don't know. It's just weird. It's hard to think about though when you're like, that's a crazy high price.
It is crazy. I mean, I can't. One of the things that's true is I do pretty well for myself, and I can't buy a house out here.
Yeah,
Tomorrow if I wanted to go. Whatever. I'm not going to talk about money. That's tacky. But yeah. It's expensive, but I do think it's worth it. Like I could move anytime I
yeah,
wanted to, and I choose not
right.
to. And I don't think people understand that. You know, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, yeah, totally. I totally agree. That's like exactly.
The
I mean,
housing
because
market
here,
here. So, I'm sorry. The
no,
housing
it's
market
the
here is
same
so
thing.
inflated. It's so
Yeah,
inflated right now, and my mortgage is not quite a third of what you just said your rent payment was.
yeah,
But
exactly.
and I bought before it got. I bought it what I swore was the top of the market, and obviously it's not the top of the market. But yeah, buddy, and I get that it's nice to have a bunch of food from a bunch of different places, and the weather's good and stuff. But like, man, that is expensive.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like you're not gonna if you're like if you're not gonna buy a house anyways, like you might as well
Yeah,
fucking live there. Like
yeah,
especially
Everything
because
fair,
the pay is just
fair.
scaling.
Yeah,
Like
the pay
it's just you just
scales.
get paid
Yeah.
way more. Like so it's so hard to think about. But like my friends, when we like one time when I was there, they were showing me around like research stuff and like some of the libraries and stuff, and you're like, dude, this like person in here, you can just go look up on the state, and it's like, oh, you know, they're making quadruple what that would be in Idaho, but it's triple the living cost. So it's just like, I don't know. It's just that
When
fucking
I
math
moved
of
out
it.
here, beginning of my career, I don't mind sharing these numbers because it was 12 years ago or whatever. But when I moved out here, I was making 35 in St. Louis, right? Not an entry level job. But when I moved out here, my salary was six figures. Same level, same year. Basically just like
Yeah.
a year difference. But like it sounds like a lot, and I thought it was a lot until I moved out here. And there's ways to do cost of living calculators where it gives you sort of
Yeah.
what you make and what your dollar actually buys, and so that's how you have to think about it. But I went from making 35 to about 105, and my life got the trappings of my life got worse because
Yeah.
I lived with four people. I lived in a very expensive city. Sure, my salary tripled or whatever, but it didn't go as far. My dollar didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. It's
Now,
definitely, yeah.
yeah. The
Yeah.
other thing is,
It's one of
Chalk,
those things where just,
you have
yeah, you
kids.
can, yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
do have
I
kids.
don't.
Dude,
I've got
last,
dink.
I'm gonna start sending you houses. You're not employed anyways. Come be unemployed
dude,
where your dollar goes
dude,
five
tell
times
last
you
time
more.
I don't think I've ever seen a kid in San Francisco.
They don't
And
exist here. It's wild.
we went to a bunch of shit where I was like, we went to like a science thing. Like we went to a bunch of museums and shit. And
They
I
No
work
don't
under
kid.
think
the
I ever
street
saw a
making
kid.
everything run. They're like in that
No,
train movie.
no, dude, it's like
Snowpiercer.
like
Snowpiercer.
you can it's Snowpiercer. You can point out schools, and you're just like, wait, what the fuck? That's a school, and you're just like, well, yeah. I mean, there's like 10 kids here, I guess. Like, fuck. The kids thing makes
There's more
a
dogs than
big
kids.
difference. Dude, that does not even sound like.
It's real. No, that's a statistic. That's real. I didn't.
That
That was no
sounds
joke.
true to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, been there a few times, and I didn't notice it until my friend literally was just like, have you seen a fucking kid around here? No, didn't think so. Like,
There's no kids, man. It's weird. It's
yeah,
really
it's
actually it's
just
kind of weird.
it is just a much. I say the same thing about like Seattle. Like every time I go to Seattle, just like it's just such a different way of like existing than like where you would like here or like a lot of other places people live. You know?
Yeah, my girlfriend and I are double income, no kids. It's called a dink, and
Yeah.
it's nice. I like living like that. But if I had a kid, I probably would not. We would move immediately.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do
And
you
my
have
girlfriend and
any
I are like
family
that too,
near
but we
you?
both get paid like shit, so it doesn't matter.
Family near me? No. My family all lives in Missouri and South Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah, family's helpful.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
For
Sure.
the kids.
Well, guys, it's been
Well,
great.
fellas, yeah,
Unreal.
I think this is it.
Leo, did
Gotta
you do
get back
yours?
to doing some stuff.
What did I do?
Did
He
you
was
do your
first.
love for your
I
food?
did.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did
he
first.
went.
I'm the only
Leo
one
What
who
was your
started the whole
food?
thing.
I did the
I
full
had,
thing.
I didn't, yeah, you did it after me, so
Or it doesn't count.
Beautiful.
I'm the trendsetter, unfortunately.
What was your
Uh,
food, Theo? I forgot.
I said Wingstop just because it
White
was what I
nachos.
ate today.
Wingstop was
White
that's right.
nachos.
It was
That's right.
not Minnesota nachos.
Minnesota nachos.
I
It's kind of
said
racist
that,
for you to call them white nachos.
But am I lying?
I said Minnesota nachos last night.
I didn't say you weren't
think for
lying,
dinner,
but it
and
doesn't
that's
make
what I
it less
felt, so.
racist.
Can't be racist. I'm white. Isn't that how that works?
Yes, that's exactly how that works.
Stupido,
Okay.
every time I talk to him, he starts to just remind me of Phil from Modern Family. I'm pretty much convinced that Stupido is just Ty Burrell.
I haven't watched that in a while.
That's a deep cut reference. I hope
Sure
somebody
is.
is like.
Why isn't Ty Burrell in more stuff, by the way? Very funny.
I know he should be, because like he kills me with his line delivery. Like when they're like, at family camp, we were on the white team. If you ain't white, you ain't right. And they're just like, Phil, we told
Phil,
you.
we told you.
Stop
Yes.
saying that. That's his like running joke, is that he always says shit that they're just like, Phil, and he's like, I heard it. That's Stupido to me, where he's doing it on purpose though, Stupido, which is the difference.
Me or Ty?
You.
Oh.
And it's funny.
Well, Copernicus, thanks for joining us.
That's where we're gonna
Thank
end
you.
right there.
Thank you for joining the pod.
I had a great
Thanks,
time.
Phil.
Super fun. Worth the wait.